the figure of Elijah is enigmatic, puzzling, fascinating. Years ago, in university days, he took up much of our time as young students, for in the earlier stages of Hebrew one was given him to read in the sense that the cycle of the first book of Kings, second book of Kings, which concern these parts of history, are fairly straightforward in Hebrew, but the result is that one makes over a period of months a deep entry into mood and mode. All the details are seen, and fascinating details they are. All the little problems of translation, and wow, there is current in this wiring. These Hebrew characters carry power from the distant past. And when one comes across these miracles of providence, the care of God, the intervention of the Spirit of God, one does feel that the arm of the Lord was never shortened. And it wasn't that far from the powerful charismatic experience in France when we had seen that at work. Ars was a place where the Spirit had moved before, in the case of a curé vase, and the same miracles were at work. The unchanged power of our God. I remember one evening at Ars, in prayer, realizing that I could never ever turn my back on that renewal, that it was from God, for only God can do these things. And why was he doing them? Because there was openness to his action. He was moving, and he was being allowed to move. How much movement of God do we succeed in blocking out by programming perfectly how he should be behaving? We have here a miracle which actually repeated itself at Ars the previous year. It was when there was not enough to eat. There was no cost as such, but people left donations for these massive events. And so they had underestimated the number that would come. But they kept, all they had, they kept giving out. It was legs of chicken, and the miracle happened. They realized that the Lord was multiplying food before their eyes. There was not enough on paper, but then it came, multiplied miraculously. And there was, as in the Gospel, much left over, so much so it had to be distributed to the nursing homes, hospitals of the area. So the Lord is always generous when he acts. Jar of meal shall not be spent, jug of oil shall not be emptied. And indeed, that is exactly what happens in these miracles. It just comes forth until the last bit is needed, and then it comes no more. But we notice how Elijah was Spirit-filled and Spirit-led, and since becoming a hermit, he has become a real model. Kerith is a place of providence. Ravens were commanded to bring, and it's exactly what happens on a daily basis, a perpetual miracle, always at the right time. Kind and money, it is actually indeed a miracle of providence. One is never short. One just leaves it to the Creator, who did say that we should look at nature. Lilies of the field, they don't go into Ulster Bank regularly to check the accounts and the balance, but that is nature. And how much more are we than lilies of the field? indeed, St. Francis understood that, and he was free because of that. One big difference between St. Francis and what had gone before was that he exploded the container. The container had been a safe monastery with a structure including stability, and therefore one took care of the monastery as the place until death. But then, when the whole world became his monastery, there was a huge freedom. And indeed it is what he found in the Gospel. The Lord gave instructions when he sent out his disciples precisely to depend on providence and be lightweight. The freeing that comes from not having a huge monastery to keep turning over is something else. And Elijah had that. He did not have to go home to look at the computer to see exactly what had to be ordered for the following day. He was free to move, and the monastery was in his body, which was his enclosure. He was enclosed in God. The Blessed Trinity was his envelope, and the all was sacred. And so Elijah was a model in the desert, a model par excellence, completely anchored in contemplation and not distracted by what went on around him. Interesting that the Carmelites look back to him as their distant founder. With regard to the Gospel, we need to take that on board, for wherever Elijah went, there was healing. And where the Christian goes, there is healing in society and in the day. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt becomes tasteless, what can make it salty again? Salt can be added to many dishes to enhance the natural taste. So too we can pepper our day with little tingles of extra. The same day can be either grey or twinkling. The spark in the unexpected text, which is not just functional but titillating, takes a few seconds extra, brings a smile to the mind and a joy to the heart, and gives a hidden message: I count. Do we do that? Or do we go through the day in grey mode? The same day can be graced by the salt of humour, and little joys in little touches where warmth passes, where that message comes through. For me, you count. For me, you count a lot. Dominus firmamentum meum et refugium meum et liberator meus, Deus meus